kingdom. So, I'm just letting you know. Okay. I was around 5 when I first discovered this superpower. I looked up at my mom and saw something floating near her head. 39 years. I had no idea what it meant. I was a bleeping child. Then my father came home. 3 years. And next year, it was only 2 years. Then only 1. Then it was at 11 months. I started to become scared. It was a countdown. I was afraid he would die when it reached 0. And he did. One morning, he went to work. The countdown said 4 minutes. Half an hour later, we got a call from the police. He died in a car accident. I saw these numbers floating above every person's head I met. It's horrible. I saw how long my friends would live. After a few years, I just decided not to look there. I didn't want to know when I would lose them. When I met my now wife, I never looked at the number, not even once. And we've been together for 12 years. I was on a business trip in another state with my coworkers when I FaceTimed my wife. I accidentally saw the number above her head. 5 days. "What's wrong?" she asked. "Nothing," I answered. I slowly started panicking. "You know, I think I'll come home a few days early." I bought a plane ticket immediately after the call ended and left my coworkers there. 5 hours later, I was already on the plane flying home. I can save her. I can save her, I repeated in my head. I won't let her leave the house that day. She'll be safe. I was so stressed, so I wanted to get some food to calm down. But as I looked at the person sitting ahead of me, he had 1 minute floating above his head. Holy shit, I'll probably get a heart attack soon. I looked at the person sitting beside me. 1 minute. Everyone on the plane had 1 minute floating above their heads. What the heck? Then the plane started to shake. "Dear passengers, it's the pilot," he said through the speakers. "The weather is quite bad here. There's a bit of turbulence, but you don't have to worry. Everything will be all right." The end. That had such a twist to it. I picked this one because it reminds me of like a TikTok trend that people do where they kind of like make up a story and like you kind of see that like how many minutes that you have or seem to be any lights on in the house. So I told the kids we should move on to the next in case the owners were away or didn't want to be bothered. But you know how kids are. It was Halloween and they were wired for extortion. I think it's the word. This house may have had candy, and that was an opportunity they couldn't pass up. I figured it couldn't hurt, but something in my mind told me to walk up to the front door with them instead of hanging back near the sidewalk. Mother's intuition. Okay. They knocked modestly on the door and waited a few moments. As the door creaked open, a small elderly woman peeked into the opening and gave a light, tired-looking smile. I have expected a terrifying, devious witch, but I was pleasantly surprised to see that she was quite normal. She was probably just not that into Halloween. She placed a couple pieces of candy into the kids' bags and nodded in response to their thanks. I smiled politely, thanking her and turning to leave when she beckoned me with a curl of her fingers. "Yes, ma'am?" I replied and leaned into her to hear her. You have beautiful children. I know you celebrate an innocent fun. Oh God, she's gonna tell me about the unholy pagan occultist blasphemy. That is Halloween. I think that's the word. I'm really bad at pronouncing words. I thought some of the children out tonight are not really children. I don't know how long I stood in this woman's doorway with what had to have been the most impolite look on my face. I started to ask her if she was referring to older teenagers because I've heard people complain about that before and it agitated me a bit. excuse me. He thanked the kid and turned to walk in the direction of our house. "Are you in Aiden's class?" I asked, trying to sound pleasant even though I was dead tired. "Oh no, I just see him at recess," he responded excitedly, and hindsight, his gleeful giggling was a little excessive. "Okay, well, we're heading home. Are your parents nearby?" I asked in genuine concern since I didn't see many families around anymore. He said nervously. "I don't see my dad now, but he must be waiting down that block towards my house." He pointed in the direction we were going. "I'll walk with you until we get there," he declared instead of asked. When we continued walking, the kids chattering among themselves. Well, more so my daughter asking Aiden's recess friend a plethora of questions and him answering with short answers and frequent giggles that began to sound more and more forced. Aiden looked as uncomfortable as ever, and I realized just how tired my feet were and just how dark it had gotten. The drizzle had stopped, but a mist lingered in the air, making it heavier. "Mommy, what did that lady say to you at the yellow house?" my daughter asked. "Nothing, baby. She was complaining about the teenagers." "Mommy." "Yes, baby." I was exhausted. My daughter lowered her voice to a whisper. "I've never seen him at recess. I don't think Aiden has either. He didn't even know the name of our school. And we've been walking for a long time. When will we be home?" "Honey, I checked my phone." How was this the first time I checked my phone? 11:54. What the? "Mommy, I'm scared. I want to go home." My heart began to race. My legs turned to jelly. "Guys, when did it get so late? I looked at the little boy standing in front of us. His face shifted continuously back and forth from the excited and nervous smile he had shown me at first to a solemn and indifferent stare, then to a manic sneer of duper's delight. That was a